The waiting room smelled like antiseptic and something faintly electric, the way ozone lingers after a lightning strike. Lieutenant Marcus Webb sat on a cold metallic bench, his boots leaving muddy prints on the pristine floor. He had been on the station for 3 days, the only human assigned to the Joint Species Medical Evaluation Program, a diplomatic gesture from Earth that Marcus was beginning to regret. Dr. Voreth shuffled in, his four-fingered hands clutching a translucent data tablet. He was a Kelvari, tall, gray-skinned, with wide amber eyes that had been practicing condescension for what Marcus assumed was at least 60 years. The Kelvari were the acknowledged masters of xenobiology in the known galaxy. They had mapped over 400 species, cured 11 extinction-level plagues, and never once let anyone forget it. Voreth looked at Marcus the way a professor looks at a student who has handed in a finger painting instead of a thesis. "You are the human," Voreth said. It was not a question. "Lieutenant Marcus Webb." "Yes sir," Marcus replied, extending a hand. Voreth stared at the hand. Physical greeting contact. How primitive. He turned and walked toward the examination room, not waiting to see if Marcus followed. The exam table was designed for beings with different proportions. Marcus had to hunch awkwardly while Voreth circled him, scanning with a device that beeped in what felt like a judgmental tone. Mammalian. Bipedal. Single heart. Voreth read aloud from his scanner with the enthusiasm of someone cataloging office supplies. Skeletal structure primarily calcium phosphate, brittle. Skin, 1 layer, no protective chitin, no regenerative membrane. Blood, iron-based. Frankly archaic. A young Kelvari assistant, Dr. Fila, entered holding a secondary scanner. She glanced at Marcus and whispered something to Voreth in their native tongue. Voreth made a sound Marcus could only describe as a chuckle translated through gravel. "My colleague notes that your species has no redundant organ systems to speak of," Voreth announced. 1 liver. 2 kidneys. 2 lungs. If any single organ fails, you simply die. More or less, Marcus said flatly. "And your healing process?" "Cellular regeneration without any directed biological nanite equivalent. You just wait. We sleep, mostly." Voreth actually laughed at that. A full, rolling laugh that made Fila cover her mouth. "You sleep. Remarkable. Evolution has produced a creature that repairs itself by becoming unconscious." He tapped notes into his tablet, still smiling. "I have studied organisms on methane worlds with more sophisticated biology than yours, Lieutenant Webb." Marcus said nothing. He had been told to represent humanity with patience and professionalism. He was currently using all of it. "We will run a full panel," Voreth said, still chuckling as he drew blood. "Standard stress markers, cellular fatigue indices, pathogen resistance profiles. Routine. Though I suspect in your case, the results will be unimpressive." The results came back on a Tuesday, station time. Marcus was eating reconstituted eggs in the cafeteria when Fila found him. She was not chuckling anymore. Her amber eyes were wide and she held the data tablet with both hands like it might bite her. "Lieutenant Webb. Dr. Voreth requests your presence." Voreth was standing at the central display when Marcus arrived. 3 other Kelvari researchers had gathered around it, speaking in low, rapid tones. They went quiet when Marcus entered. Voreth turned. The condescension was gone from his face entirely, replaced with something Marcus had never expected to see there, unease. "Your stress cortisol markers," Voreth began carefully. "They are extraordinary." "Bad extraordinary?" "No." Voreth pulled up the holographic chart. "Lieutenant, your body has been operating under chronic elevated stress for what our analysis suggests is years. Sustained cortisol output that would trigger organ failure in a Kelvari within 72 hours. In most known species within 48. He paused. "You are not only alive, you are functionally normal. Marcus shrugged. It's been a tough deployment. Vorith pointed to the next panel. Your cellular damage repair rates. While sleeping. Your primitive unconscious repair cycle, your cells regenerate at a rate that our instruments initially flagged as a calibration error. We recalibrated 4 times. He looked at Marcus directly. Your telomere preservation under stress conditions should be impossible. And your pathogen resistance, Fila said quietly, pulling up another screen. We introduced a controlled sample of Gren fever markers, non-infectious, trace exposure only, standard protocol, expecting minimal response. Your immune system identified, isolated, and chemically neutralized the pathogen in 11 minutes. Our own species requires pharmaceutical intervention for Gren fever, Lieutenant. 11 minutes. The room was silent. Marcus looked around at the gathered researchers, the charts, the recalibrated instruments, and the great Dr. Vorith standing with his tablet hanging loose at his side. So, Marcus said slowly, not unimpressive then. Vorith filed his report to the Galactic Concordat Medical Authority 3 days later. Marcus read the summary that was forwarded to the Earth Diplomatic Office. Human biology, while superficially primitive in structural design, demonstrates a suite of adaptive stress response and immune capabilities that exceed current Calvari medical modeling. The species appears evolutionarily optimized not for ideal conditions, but for survival under sustained catastrophic pressure. Further study is strongly recommended. Classification upgraded from Category 3, Developing Biology, to Category 1, Anomalous Resilience Profile. Marcus forwarded the report to his mother back in Nashville with a single line of text. Turns out we're built different, Mom. He hit send, leaned back, and for the first time in 3 days, slept like the extraordinary, impossible, catastrophe-forged human that he was.